話喺頭先先唔知乜嘢一回事，就冇咗 data， 但係呢，我就從頭嚟過，就等陣先。話喺頭先先唔知發生咗啲乜嘢，一個黃色一條嘢，再加no data 添。係是但啦。今場波呢，就我唔知你哋有冇睇過啦。係今場波呢，唔知你哋有冇睇啦，就你無端端呢，就英格蘭呢入咗六個咪入咗6球波，不過呢入咗4球。嗱吓，就唔知點解就佢哋就唔知點解英格蘭呢就發咗癲咁樣係咁入波，係收尾係英格蘭應該同乜嘢啊？咪就英格蘭同嗰個呢應該阿根廷咁樣發神經咁樣入波嘛？就冇無端端唔知點解無端端阿根廷呢，咪就英格蘭就捱唔住，俾阿根廷入咗一球。就兼不但止呢啲，兼不但止啊，就佢哋呢，阿根廷呢就呢就不但止呢就一樣，佢贏咗就贏咗，但係佢呢就一樣嘢出嚟咯，係歷史上嘅 100-200年嘅歷史上邊戰爭嘅嘢出嚟就我揾係啲 YouTube 揾唔揾到，你就睇過先。係籃球，係睇下有冇先。有呢日有佢哋贏咗英格蘭，不但止就逼咗政治上嘅問題出嚟，我就係要逼係就因為呢樣嘢就逼到英格蘭就對發火對法國啦。我就係咁嘅諗法咯。就法國咧就啱啱對西班牙咧輸咗2球，佢哋揾唔到個約白宮嘅，咪就2-0就揾唔到個位嚟入球嘅，就呢個公平啊！但係就呢最唔公平就係英格蘭對阿根廷咯。第二個咧就我係對住法國同英國嘅咧，我係對呢場波好有期望，唔係鬥嗰啲咧第3名咯，我係想咧係鬥第1、第2名咯，就搞到咧就搞到英格蘭對法國咯。睇下有冇嗰啲唔係錄俾我查下有冇，就唔好用 ITV 啊同乜嘢，同埋 BBC。
If France meets Argentina, it wouldn't be the first time. Wonder why you do from France. brought some grapes to some farmers in Argentina, the world got Argentinian Malbec. Wonder what'll happen the next time they meet.
Hầu từ dân phản phật và từ kỳ thi không清楚。
Friends, the post-match celebrations inside the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami were nothing short of an absolute carnival of pure, unbridled emotion, capping off a historic 10-goal feast that fans will talk about.
Ready?
The world's biggest football tournament is here. And to celebrate, Bet365 are bringing you more offers than ever before.
Download the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365.
Stop running. Stick to the plan. No improv, no theatrics.
Oh, bless you, Bukayo. And as you can see, what a wild game. Look at the first half stats compared to the second half. We have got plenty of analysis for you. It might take us till 6 in the morning, but do stay with us. Did you get through? What a crazy game. We've even had to put a score on the floor here in studio just to remind ourselves of the score. I love that when Danny said, what was the score? But what a crazy game.
It was brilliant in the fact of what we wanted to see was we wanted to see front foot football, and we got it as well.
Yeah, you saw Saka there, how much he's hurting. I don't see his players. I mean, how fit was he? You know, he obviously didn't. He felt he could have offered something, but at least tonight he gets an opportunity to give a performance. But you get that feeling that he wanted to play in the last game and he didn't get that opportunity.
Well, especially that last answer says so much, doesn't it?
Even the Argentinian manager was saying, I don't know why Saka didn't take it. So we'll always be looking back, but we have to look forward now. And everyone learns from it going forward, and let's hope they do that.
OK, let's hear from Thomas Tuchel. He's with Kelly.
Well, Thomas, wow, what a way for England's World Cup to finish. Try and sum that up for me if you can.
Well, difficult. It's enough for 4 matches. What happened here? We had a brilliant first half and then a turbulent second half. You could see the difference what one day makes and the difference in the schedule. We're just so tired and drained from the last weeks. So massive compliment and full respect, the mentality that we showed and going through all the adversity, absolutely brilliant.
Given what happened in the semi-final, did you ever fear that you weren't going to be able to see it out tonight?
If I was in fear?
I said, given what happened on Wednesday against Argentina, the way you lost the lead, did you ever fear that you wouldn't be able to see it out tonight?
I was afraid of the physical demand of the match because we know the quality and speed of France, and they have much less. The schedule for them was just less demanding. They had 1 day more in between the semi-final to digest, and they had way less travel distances than us. So the sun's just up for us. We played in the heat, overtime, and in altitude and whatever. So I was worried physically. And yeah, you could see it in the second half, all the cramps, all the tiredness, but I was never worried about the mentality. I said it before, this team created something very special, and they showed it again.
What changed at the drinks break as well? Because it felt like you had more control after that, or was it as simple as bringing on Jude Bellingham and Elliot Anderson?
Not sure if we had more control. We had just fresher legs and then quality players again, and the others were tired. And again, like France played in the full flow and then full risk, so we got lucky to not concede the equalizer and finished it off with a penalty and a brilliant goal.
Word on Bukayo Saka as well, the hat-trick hero tonight. Do you wish you could have played him more earlier in the tournament?
No. I could wish him. He did everything right. I had just a feeling in the semi-final for Morgan Rogers that he would be involved in something special. That was it, and then the games in itself demand so much. There's so much force into changes because of cramps and flow of the game. So Bukayo showed that he's a key player. There was never a doubt. I was not even aware now that he had a hat trick. I lost the overview over the goal scorers, but well deserved, brilliant.
You've also spoken a lot this week about needing to close the gap on the top nations. Does a result like this maybe give the belief, and how far are England off that?
Yeah, but you see that, you could see.
Introducing the all.
You could see, I think, everything. We have the ability to close it, but we have also the ability within again. They have the ability to open it up again. Listen, they were 8 years ago, they were the champions. 4 years ago, they were in the final, they're in the Nations League final. So there is a slight gap, but there's no problem. We want to close it. I said yesterday, today is the first step to close it. We did it, we beat them. The next one will be against Spain in Nations League.
And I'm sure you're tired now, but still as energised as ever for this job?
Yeah, because matches and see a team fight like this gives you energy. The tiredness will come after. We will still feel the pain when we know tomorrow is the final and all that. So this will take a while, but overall, it gives me more energy than it takes from me.
Thanks, Thomas. Well done. Huge congratulations. England have the bronze medal. You got the match ball, but wow, that was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. Obviously, we're both still quite disappointed to not be in the final, but it was about finishing strong, and for us, giving the country the best position in the World Cup they finished for around 60 years, so we're happy with the final result.
What won it for England in the end? Because for large parts of that second half, France was very much on the front foot.
I think the first half won it for us. You know, we won the first half, they won the second half, and obviously in the end we got the 2 goals to win the game. So I'd say that's how the game went.
A word on your penalty, the pressure on your shoulders. Then was Jude going to take it, and he gave it to you?
No. Jude was never taking it. To be fair, he was the first one to say, "Go and get your hat trick." He was just holding the ball for me, so none of them come and try and distract me. But yeah, I was always going to take it.
You are going to get the headlines with your hat trick. A lot of people will be asking why you haven't played more in this tournament. Do you feel you could have played a bit of a bigger part?
Of course, I would love to have played more, but you know, it's too late to talk about that. You know, I just try to do my talking on the pitch, and yeah, it's done now. And let's move on.
And the Arsenal fans in particular, I'm sure, will be wondering just how fit you are, because you certainly looked out there.
Yeah, I'm fit.
And you've had a few days to reflect from the disappointment. How do you look back on England's tournament as a whole?
Yeah, I would say we built and built across the tournament. We had some amazing results, and in the end we fell short against Argentina, and yeah, it hurts a lot to all of us, and I'm sure it's the same for the fans back home, but we have to hold our head high and move on and focus on the next one. That's what I say.
Finally, yesterday, John Stones said he doesn't like the noise around the manager. How do you feel about that?
I think it's just part of the game. You know, when you lose, there's always going to be noise. When you win, there's going to be noise. It's how you react to it, how you use it as fuel. And yeah, today we finished strong, so that's all we could really do, and we done it.
Well played today. I know you didn't want the bronze, but it's a medal at least. Well done.
Very revealing interview. You probably heard Oasis Don't Look Back in Anger as well in the background. Is that how Thomas Tuchel needs to reflect on the World Cup now? Don't look back in anger?
Well, he'll carry the scars because obviously that does impact on you. There was a fight though, and there was a reaction. But what he needs to do now for the future is develop a game plan where they can control games in a better fashion. I think that's what Spain have shown us against France, and we didn't quite show that tonight. As much as the game had enterprise and so much interest at either end, it got a little bit hairy there. So look, in the future, develop a game for us to do that. And I think the players are there. That's the encouraging thing. We saw a reaction from the players. There's enough ability there. It's just the manager getting it right, who the players are going to be at the right moments.
Stephen, Tuchel's been hammered for the substitutions and the defensive retreat against Argentina, but he got his substitutions bang on tonight.
Yeah, he did. And the big thing was that arguably one of them was a midfield change which gave us more ability to press in that central area, which is probably what we needed against Argentina. The other one was Bellingham, which allows you to win free kicks, it allows you to hold the ball up, it allows you to take pressure off the team, it allows you to drive up the pitch, which is completely different to what we saw the other day. The big thing about losing a football game is how you react to it and how you learn from it. Now, the players will learn from it, but also the manager has to learn from it as well. I think there's been a lot of talk about Bellingham, Tuchel talking about how he's not disappointed with the changes he made in the Argentina game. He stands by them. But I think deep down, I think he'll look back on it in time and think, I could have been a little bit more proactive. I think he's probably looked at that over the last couple of days and thought, I can do more. Today he's done that. It had a positive effect towards the end of the game. But I agree with Martin. You don't want to get to that point where you're 4-0 up and suddenly you go to 4-3 and you think, hang about. Like, we shouldn't be in this position. We should be controlling this game. You'd think if Spain went 4-0 up, they'd be able to control it a lot better. It might get to 4-2, but it'd never get too close.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, Martin, I go back to that point I made earlier in that question to you about, let's remember what this game is and what it means compared to a World Cup semi-final. Because it did seem as if the players were enjoying tonight. And yet in the last 15 minutes, there did appear to be a fear in the eyes of those England players, knowing what was coming and the onslaught that Argentina put in front of them.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, obviously, we all know what the goal was to come here and win the World Cup. And this isn't a consolation, but this is the first step back. You know, the Phoenix has to rise out of the ashes. You have to react. And there's been a reaction tonight. As bitter as they all feel, you know, they've given a good account of themselves this evening. So that's the first step. Of course, now we get to another tournament. How much have we learned? We were being told that Thomas Tuchel would give us something a bit different, something in the moment. But we found out that it's still very tough. Doesn't matter about what you've won before when you come into this job. You know, people were saying Gareth Southgate didn't quite have that in the moment. Well, he didn't do a bad job when you look now. But he's taken us to the expectation level has risen. Thomas Tuchel couldn't quite take it there to the next step. I think that we're on a decent pathway. And if these people can stick together, can learn from this, and he can educate the players to play with more freedom. Because when he talked about DNA, it looked like he was having a little bit of a go, detaching himself from that and saying, look, something I can't control. Yes, he can. I've been there with a foreign manager, with Arsene Wenger, who imparted, made sure that we played with total belief and anything was possible. An attack, all-out football was what we played. So I think they come out of this with a level of credit tonight, picking up the best.
It's a home European Championships, as we see Harry Kane leading the squad up to get their bronze medals. It's a home European Championships as well. What does this squad learn from that sort of heartbreak, Stephen?
Well, how do you develop? How do you emulate what Spain are doing, what Argentina are doing? If you can get a blend of Spain and Argentina, which is the ability to control the game, the ability to be horrible to play against, to be streetwise in the way that Argentina are, that's the blend you're looking for. Are we a product of our own Premier League where it's fast, it's frantic, it's overpaced at times? However, we've got so many European foreign players within our league, you wouldn't think it's just that. So it's something maybe
down to crazy Champions League games.
Well, 100%, yeah, but also as well, is it what's going on in our grassroots? Can we develop more from grassroots from the young ages up until senior?
Well, this is what I was saying earlier about whether Thomas Tuchel talking about the DNA, Martin, whether it comes from grassroots right the way to international elite level in terms of when you see Argentina, you know what you're going to get. They're going to keep fighting to the end and they'll keep fighting battle. Spain will control a football game.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you look at the difference in the abilities of our centre midfielders more so than anything, in the way that they demand the ball under pressure all the time. I mean, there's the old saying, like, they'll take a ball in the phone box and keep it off you. That's the type of player that you want in tight situations, that can draw fouls and can keep the ball.
But what he did say when he took the job was that there wasn't a clear identity and there wasn't a clarity in the way that the England team plays. They don't play with a rhythm. And he has to ask himself, was he able to bring that to the table? Do we else? No. So look, it's a learning curve. It's not as easy as all of that.
Such to see Jason Steele coming up, who's been part because he's been helping out the squad all the way through the tournament, and I think that's epitomises what this squad's all about. There's a real togetherness, and you can see there Jordan Henderson and Harry Kane bringing him up to the stage, lovely touch.
And remember Jude Bellingham, first England player to score 7 goals in the World Cup, overtaking Gary Lineker in 1986, Harry Kane 2018 and 2026, and further cementing Bellingham's reputation in world football.
He's been immense. I mean, he must be one of the top players in world football right now. The way he drives through midfield, his technique in front of goal, it's all there. He's a top-class international player that we can build around. You know, we have the basis there. Harry Kane go to another championship. I think he goes to the Euros because he do a World Cup maybe too much. But we do need to find another centre forward, that's for certain, because we seem to have now with strikers, but Harry Kane's been immense. You never question him in an England shirt.
There were also a couple of key lines from that interview with Thomas Tuchel with Kevin Summers about a turbulent second half. He was worried about the players being tired and drained, and he was afraid of the physical demands. Let's face it, England have been involved in some real tough encounters, notwithstanding that game at the Azteca.
Yeah, and also when he was talking about France's travel, you think of France where they located themselves. They were based out of New York, and then they had games in Boston, New York, and I think the other one was, Philadelphia. So there was very little travel. The travel in America, it takes out.
He's gone down. 87th minute.
睇下嗰啲法國嗰啲乜嘢啊？嗰啲法國點樣講英格蘭咯？
Je l'ai dit, Léo il marque tout le temps. Demain il va marquer, c'est sûr. Moi j'essaye juste d'aider mon équipe à chaque fois à marquer. C'est sûr que quand tu marques autant de buts en Coupe du Monde, ça te fait évoluer dans certaines sphères. Mais voilà, j'aurais aimé ne pas être le meilleur buteur de l'histoire et jouer demain le match. Donc je pense que c'est bien pour tout ce qui est héritage et quand on va arrêter de se dire que j'ai été un de ces joueurs-là. Mais aujourd'hui, c'est pas la première chose qui traverse mon esprit.
Medal, you got the match ball, but wow, that was a roller coaster, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. Obviously, we're both still quite disappointed to not be in the final, but it was about finishing strong, and for us, giving the country the best position in the World Cup they finished for around 60 years. So we're happy with the final result.
What won it for England in the end? Because for large parts of that second half, France was very much on the front foot.
I think the first half won it for us. You know, we won the first half, they won the second half, and obviously in the end.
基加上訓練佢嗰個咧係人哋 係訓練巴塞隆拿嗰隊嗰個人嚟嘅喎，就唔贏一個唔贏嘅咧，真係唔俾面嗰個巴塞隆拿呢隊啊！
So I was seriously debating watching tonight's game. I was like, this is just going to be like one of those pointless, meaningless friendlies. Like, what's the point? And wow, I'm glad I watched the game because that's probably been the most entertaining game of the World Cup. That's probably been England's best ever World Cup performance. And it has to come in a nothing game. 10 goals. England go 4-0 up. France make it 4-3. I'm thinking, is this a bottle job? Then, late in the game, Saka, penalty, scores it, hat-trick completed, Spence win.
唉，濕氣啦。
好啦，又嚟到世界。
唔係呢個。
Make sure that the French team don't play the way they want to play, and you gotta disturb them.
We want to win this World Cup.
France arrived in Dallas, Texas, as the most feared attacking force on planet football. 8 goals from Kylian Mbappe, record after record shattered before the semi-final had even started.
And
France had outscored their opponents 16 goals to 2 in this World Cup, with a squad that pundits were calling one of the greatest ever assembled.
They have probably like the best players in the world. So.
And then Spain walked out onto the pitch at AT&T Stadium and turned every single light in that French machine off.
Olmo! Pedro Porro!
Michael Oyarzabal and Pedro Porro gave Spain a massive 2-0 win over France in the first semi-final of the World Cup.
Spain, the European champions, will play the World Cup final.
Now, the whole football world is laughing. Let's get into it. The match, what actually happened. Let's set the scene first, because to understand exactly why everyone is mocking France right now, you need to understand just how catastrophic this performance was. France came in as slight favourites. Deschamps' free-flowing French team had dazzled the competition en route to the last 4, rattling in 16 goals in 6 games to earn comparisons to some of the greatest teams in World Cup history. The narrative was simple. Spain had the best defence, France had the best attack. One would have to give. Neither gave. Spain just erased France entirely. A quiet first half swung in Spain's favour when Digne fouled Yamal in the box, allowing Oyarzabal to dispatch from the spot with a well-taken penalty.
He's just playing the ball, he doesn't know where Yamal is.
That was the only goal France gifted, you say? Not quite. Spain maintained control of proceedings and got their second in the 58th minute when Porro played a give and go with Olmo before side-footing past Maignan. 2 goals. A completely controlled, suffocating, ruthless performance. And France? La Roja's defence once again stood strong against the talent of Mbappe, Olise, Dembélé and Doué, restricting them to just 0.3 xEG from 10 shots, 3 of which were on target. 0.3 expected goals. For a team called the greatest attacking unit in World Cup history, talk about a reality check. The frustration seemed to boil over for Mbappe in the 86th minute when he rushed towards Simon, just as the Spain goalkeeper was bending over to pick up the ball. The two collided, sending Simon to the grass and earning the Real Madrid striker a yellow card. That image, right there. Mbappe, the tournament's top scorer, reduced to frustration fouls in the dying minutes of a game he barely existed in. That is the picture the whole world woke up to this morning. Yamal, the prophecy fulfilled. But here is where things get absolutely delicious, because before this match, Lamine Yamal did something bold. Actually, correction, Lamine Yamal did something savage. Spain's Lamine Yamal was confident his team could knock France out of the 2026 World Cup semi-finals after defeating the nation at the same stage of the 2024 Euros. If anyone should be afraid, it should be them. We knocked them out of the Euros, Yamal said, after Spain advanced to the semi-finals. He was not done. Yamal stated his firm belief that there are only two potential outcomes. Spain will progress to its third consecutive World Cup final. There are two options. Either France gets to 3 World Cup finals in a row, or we beat them 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row, he called it, and then he went out and helped make it happen.
Lamine Yamal can slam the door shut! Lamine Yamal!
But wait, France's players actually fired back ahead of the game. Centre-back Ibrahima Konate responded to Yamal's comments, saying, "We shouldn't be afraid of anyone. The important thing is to maintain the humility with which we started this competition and not fall into those kinds of traps, especially at a time like this. He can say whatever he wants. We're going to prepare for the match in the best way possible, and I hope that when it's over, the result will be in our favour."
Maintenant, on peut dire ce qu'il veut. Nous, on va essayer de se préparer du mieux possible jusqu'à ce moment-là.
Konate, brother, it was not in your favour, and the cherry on top? Lamine Yamal turned 19 the day before this match. He asked for one birthday present, a win and a ticket to New York. He got exactly what he wanted, and he has now never lost a single elimination match against Kylian Mbappe. The Euro semi-finals in 2024, the Supercopa final in 2025, the Copa del Rey final in 2025, the Nations League semi-finals in 2025, the Supercopa final in 2026, Yamal has come out on top every single time. At 19 years old, the kid is simply built different. Rodri, the silent assassin, speaks. And then came the words from Rodri, cool, measured, and dripping with a quiet confidence that made it sting even more. After the full-time whistle, Rodri went to the microphone and simply stated, "Today we did our best performance of the World Cup so far. France is a very strong team and can punish you everywhere, but everyone on Spain rose to the level." He kept going. "I said it before. We are showing the character of being mature in big moments, and this was the most important moment to wait for. Because in the big moments they will punish you, so the composure was the key. The composure was the key." That is Rodri essentially saying, we knew France would panic. We just waited for it, and it happened exactly on schedule at the 22nd minute when Lucas Digne kicked Yamal in the box. Spain were able to see out the win and tie Italy for the most consecutive games without a loss at 37, earning the nation's second ever trip to a World Cup final to boot. It means a lot, because we have only been to the final twice in our history, so we want to win the World Cup, Rodri said.
Well, it means a lot. We've only been twice in our history. It's so difficult to arrive until this moment, but we want more. We want to win this World Cup.
37 games unbeaten. The Spanish midfield maestro delivered the most understated demolition speech in World Cup history, and every French fan felt it. Pedro Porro, the goal and the glory. Now, if Yamal set the tone before the game, Pedro Porro delivered it on the pitch. The right-back who scored the decisive second goal, the right-back who was given the Player of the Match award.
Olmo! Pedro Porro!
Pedro Porro, the man who was supposed to be Mbappe's problem. After the match, Porro said, "It's a dream come true. It's honestly beyond my wildest dreams. I think we played a great game, did everything we had to do to reach the final. We knew we were up against a really, really tough team. This is the team's achievement, not mine at all. It's simply about congratulating everyone because they played a fantastic match. Beautiful, a right-back scoring the goal that ends Kylian Mbappe's World Cup. A right-back winning the Player of the Match award while Mbappe got a yellow card for frustration fouls on the goalkeeper. You truly cannot write football." Oyarzabal continued his own rich vein of form, and these two players were absolutely on fire when it mattered most, and France had no answer. De La Fuente, the best in the world. Spain coach Luis de la Fuente was asked to comment after the match, and he kept it extremely simple, brutally simple. He said, "We started almost 4 years ago with an idea, and we've been faithful to that idea, and it's brought us here." The Spain coach acknowledged the quality of France, but insisted his side rose above the challenge. "Today we faced one of the best national teams in the world, but in front of them they had the best team in the world. That is different." Oh, that last line. In front of them they had the best team in the world. He did not yell it. He did not bang the table. He just said it as a calm statement of fact. This is a man who has now beaten France in the Euro 2024 semi-finals, the 2025 Nations League, and the 2026 World Cup semi-final. Spain beat France in their FIFA World Cup semi-final in Arlington, Texas, on Tuesday to make it 3 wins in a row against their European heavyweight rival.
Spain, the European champions, will play the World Cup.
Waiting. Wait. What if you were driving to a charming little hotel? Go on, book it. It's easy. Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Booking.
Having beaten Les Bleus in the 2024 European Championship semi-finals and the UEFA Nations League semi-finals in 2025, 3 times, 3 major tournaments, 3 times France showed up with Mbappe and Dembele and Olise, and 3 times Spain sent them home. Convenient, right? Mbappe, the brutal admission. So what did Kylian Mbappe himself have to say? Because throughout this tournament, the man has been absolutely dominant. Mbappe came in with 20 career World Cup goals, chasing Messi's all-time record. He was the Golden Boot leader. And then Spain locked him in a cage for 90 minutes. Following the final whistle, the Les Bleus captain offered a blunt, honest assessment of the semi-final exit, admitting that we didn't know how to hurt Spain. Speaking to French outlet M6 in the mixed zone, Mbappe detailed his perspective on the tactical shortcomings that doomed their championship aspirations. "We didn't play the game we wanted to play, whether tactically, technically, or in terms of the overall level we produced. When you don't do what you are supposed to do in a World Cup semi-final, you don't win." He wasn't done being brutally honest. Mbappe said, "The idea was to press them high so as not to let this false rhythm settle in, and we didn't manage to do that. There were too many technical errors. We didn't know how to hurt them when we needed to hurt them." When asked to describe his emotions, Mbappe opened up about the collective heartbreak felt inside the French locker room. "Like everyone, a lot of disappointment. It was a dream for us to reach the final, to give our country that chance to dream, to make history. There is a tremendous amount of disappointment. I can't quite find the words for it. The tournament's leading scorer, reduced to silence by Spain's back four. Deschamps, the sore loser exit. Now let us talk about the man who coached France for 14 years, Didier Deschamps, his final game in charge of Les Bleus, and what a way to go out. France head coach Didier Deschamps admitted his side was below its usual standards after a massive defeat to Spain in the FIFA World Cup semi-final, saying Les Bleus paid the price for technical mistakes and a lack of cutting edge in attack. Speaking after France's exit from the tournament, Deschamps said his players were deeply disappointed after falling short of their goal of reaching the final. "The players are devastated because we had high ambitions, even though we have to admit that today we were a notch below our usual level technically, facing a team that really had a handle on the game," Deschamps said. "Fine, that is all reasonable." But then he just had to go there, because Deschamps, rather than simply accepting defeat, decided to take a shot at the referee. Deschamps could not resist firing a shot at referee Barton, who had awarded Spain an early penalty after Lucas Digne kicked Lamine Yamal in the first half.
It's Cucurella's delivery, it's beyond Oyarzabal, awkward for Digne, Lamal's gone over, penalty!
"I'll ask a loaded question and I won't answer it," Deschamps said. "Is the referee at the level required to officiate a World Cup semi-final? And I'm not saying this just because we lost today. There were quite a few situations. There were some favourable calls too," he said, without elaborating. "You know what is wild about that? France fans online pointed out the exact same thing multiple analysts confirmed.
Pedro Porro!
France finished with 10 shot attempts, but only 1 was within 13 metres of the goal, and only 3 were on target. Blame the referee if you want, Didier. The stats do not lie. Spain dominated every single phase of that game." Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Henry, the before and after storyline. And here is where things get particularly spicy, because before the match, some of football's biggest voices had gone absolutely nuclear on France's chances. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, speaking as a pundit on Fox's coverage before the semi-final, had been raving about France. Ibrahimovic thinks Mbappe, Dembélé and Olise are 3 of the top 5 players in the world, joined at the very highest level by Haaland and Yamal. This France team is going to destroy you, and it feels like they're not even giving 100%, he ominously remarked. Imagine if they would push and give 100% where they suffer and they really push for it. They pushed. Spain destroyed them.
Make sure that the French team don't play the way they want to play, and you gotta disturb them.
And even Thierry Henry, France's all-time great, came with a very pointed warning that went unheeded. You know what Spain can do, Henry warned after the Morocco quarter-final win. He said it. He knew. He had seen it in 2024 at the Euros. He had seen it at the Nations League in 2025, and nobody listened. The French squad walked into Dallas talking about records and golden boots and history, and Spain walked in talking about shape, composure, and collective effort. We know who won that conversation. The internet explodes, the mockery wave. The moment the final whistle blew in Dallas, the football world erupted. Because France had spent this entire World Cup building themselves up as something almost mythological. Mbappe, Dembélé and Michael Olise had 23 goal involvements so far in the tournament. That was 3 more than the 3 Rs, Ronaldo, Rivaldo and Ronaldinho, for Brazil in 2002 when they won it all. Analysts were comparing this France side to the greatest teams in history. Every segment on every sports channel was about how Mbappe was chasing Messi's all-time goal record, about how this France attack was unstoppable, about how Spain's defense would surely buckle, and then Spain allowed
I got one challenge for you. Try Whisper Flow once. One time. And I promise you'll understand why I haven't typed the full
0.3 expected goals. 0.3. Against the team called the most devastating attack in the history of the competition, French fans on social media went from ecstatic confidence to shell shock in the space of 90 minutes. The memes flooded in from everywhere, from Spanish fans, from rival club supporters, from everyone who had been told for weeks that Mbappe and France were basically unbeatable. The internet reminded everyone of Yamal's pre-match quotes. Screenshot after screenshot of those confident French replies to Yamal, now side by side with the 0.3 XG graphic, and Mbappe receiving his yellow card for fouling a goalkeeper who was picking up the ball. Talk about a moment for the archives. The bigger picture, France's kryptonite. And here is the thing that really hurts. This was not a one-off disaster. This is becoming a pattern, a deeply worrying pattern for France. Spent their European heavyweight rival, UEFA Nations League semi-finals in 2025, 3 times, 3 major tournaments, and each time the result has been the same. Spain walks in, neutralizes Mbappe, controls the midfield through Rodri, and sends France home. The loss prevented France from reaching a 3rd consecutive World Cup final. Only West Germany from 1982 to 1990 and Brazil from 1994 to 2002 have achieved that feat. They had history in their sights. A 3rd straight final appearance was right there, and Spain just looked at it and said, no thank you. With their elimination confirmed, France leave the World Cup facing serious questions after entering the tournament as one of the favourites. The lack of chemistry between Mbappe, Olise and Dembélé, combined with Spain's tactical superiority, ultimately decided a semi-final that ended the French side's hopes of lifting the trophy. And now Deschamps' 14-year reign is over. This was Deschamps' last match in charge of the French team.
Here is Mbappe, driving with strength and requiring it.
What a way to say goodbye. The man who won the 2018 World Cup and reached the 2022 final exits on a massive semi-final defeat where his team generated fewer expected goals than a League One side on a bad Tuesday night. What happens next? So where does France go from here against the loser of the Argentina versus England semi-final? France will play the loser of the Wednesday, July 15th semi-final between England and Argentina, with kickoff set for 5 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, July 18th at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida. For Mbappe personally, there is still the golden boot to chase. He is level with Lionel Messi on 8 goals in this tournament in the race for the golden boot, and that battle is still alive heading into Saturday's bronze medal game. He will at the very least want to walk away with that. Small consolation for a man who came to Dallas wanting to lift the World Cup. And Spain, they now head to New Jersey on Sunday to face either Argentina or England. 37 unbeaten matches, a team that has now beaten France 3 times at major tournaments in the last 2 years. Going into a World Cup final, if you thought France's elimination was painful for French fans, just imagine watching Spain potentially win their second World Cup, all while knowing they were the ones who ended your dream in Dallas. The same team, the same result, 3 times in a row. So which part of this story hit you hardest? Yamal's prophecy coming true the day after his 19th birthday, Mbal Deschamps blaming the referee on his way out the door. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section, and before you leave, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Goal Rivals so you don't miss the next ones.
The good old US of A is going to show you how soccer's done.
我未睇過
Easy Cowboy
格蘭點輸俾
And an early opportunity.
阿根廷㗎嚇。
So a look at the score. Lionel Messi faces England for the first time in his career as he chases the Golden Boot.
Messi.
Away we go. One more step for these Englishmen to make modern history as Messi and his men meet the Three Lions for the first time. And England's approach will be fascinating. They try to get after Argentina.
Your unlimited support deserves unlimited data. Watch every game this summer with unlimited data for only £14 a month. GiftGaff. Your unlimited support deserves unlimited data. Watch every game this summer with unlimited data for only £14 a month. GiftGaff.
Gay helping it on high front.
Make sure that the French team don't play the way they want to play, and you gotta disturb them.
We want to win this World Cup.
大家都失意咗一段時間咁。
咦，乜嘢事咧？
Kunda.
Every season has its own pleasures. When it comes to
This is the most compromised World Cup final in the history of the sport. Not because of anything that happened today, because of everything that happened across 40 days of tournament football that has been building toward this exact moment. And because in the final hours before the biggest match in human history, 3 separate crises arrived simultaneously that FIFA has no clean answer for. The air quality inside MetLife Stadium in New Jersey was flagged as a serious concern on Thursday. A dancer rehearsing the halftime show texted her father that it was bad out there, that the air was heavy and hard to work in. The air quality index in the area was elevated enough that a professional women's football match played at a nearby venue on Wednesday required 2 additional hydration breaks per half under league protocol. FIFA, the same organization that mandated 3-minute hydration breaks at every match of this tournament, regardless of conditions, may now be forced to break its own protocol for the final, to add additional breaks, to alter the structure of the sport's most watched single match, because the stadium where it is being played cannot guarantee the conditions the players need. The banner investigation is still open. Lisandro Martinez and Giovanni Lo Celso held up a banner about the Falkland Islands on the pitch after the semifinal against England. FIFA opened a formal investigation. No outcome has been announced. Argentina are playing the final in 3 hours with that investigation unresolved. The players responsible for it are in the squad. Their eligibility for the match has not been formally challenged, and the institution that threatened yellow cards to players wearing images of inclusion in Qatar, that deployed its full disciplinary weight to prevent an armband from appearing on a football pitch, has not yet said what it will do about 8 words in Spanish displayed on the pitch of a World Cup semifinal. And the phone call that the president of the host nation confirmed publicly on the record in the Oval Office is the most important single sentence spoken about this tournament by anyone outside football. I called FIFA. I asked them to review the suspension. He said he didn't say you have to do this. He said he didn't think the offense was even a foul. He thanked FIFA publicly for doing what was right and reversing what he called a great injustice. The head of the primary host nation of the 2026 World Cup publicly confirmed that he personally telephoned the president of FIFA to request the reversal of a disciplinary ruling, and FIFA reversed it. The first reversal of an automatic red card suspension in 64 years of World Cup football, done after a phone call. That is not a political story. That is a football governance story of the first order, and it is the story that sits underneath every other crisis arriving at MetLife Stadium on the day of the final. So what really happened, and how did the sport's greatest competition arrive at its concluding match carrying this much weight? Let's go through both tracks, the football and the institutional collapse, the beauty and the crisis, because both are real, and understanding either one without the other produces an incomplete account of the most extraordinary tournament in World Cup history. Start with the air quality, because the air quality crisis is the most immediate and the most operationally concrete of the three crises landing today. New Jersey's air quality index on Thursday and Friday has been elevated, driven by a combination of regional weather patterns and wildfire smoke from elsewhere in the Northeast, the same conditions that have intermittently affected the region across this summer. Inside MetLife Stadium, a venue with a partial roof structure that does not provide full shelter from atmospheric conditions, the air quality had deteriorated enough to be physically noticeable during rehearsals for Sunday's halftime show. The halftime show itself, Shakira, Madonna, and BTS performing in the interval of the World Cup final, is the most watched 15 minutes of entertainment in the world. Billions of people will see it. The organizational infrastructure behind it has been months in the making, and the dancer who rehearsed at the stadium on Thursday was texting her father that she could feel the air, that it was heavy. That is not a casual observation. That is a performer whose professional health depends on air quality, saying that the conditions inside the venue were physically noticeable. The implications for the match are significant. FIFA has mandated 3-minute hydration breaks at every match of this tournament. The rationale offered, player welfare in extreme heat, has generated its own controversy throughout, with critics pointing to the commercial inventory those breaks create and the booing that has accompanied every single break in every single stadium across 40 days of football. But that is a separate argument. The point today is that if the air quality inside MetLife Stadium on Sunday requires additional welfare breaks beyond the mandatory 3-minute windows, FIFA faces a specific choice: apply its own welfare logic consistently and add breaks when conditions demand it, or hold rigidly to the 3-minute format and accept that the final's conditions were not managed with the same welfare standard applied everywhere else. Every decision this institution makes on the day of the final will be scrutinized through the lens of everything that preceded it. That is the consequence of a tournament that has generated formal complaints from 5 national federations and produced the most extensive officiating controversy in the competition's modern history. Here's the interesting part. Because the air quality situation lands alongside the announcement of the halftime show performers in a way that illuminates something about the commercial architecture of this tournament. Shakira, Madonna, BTS, 3 of the most globally recognizable entertainment acts on Earth. Their combined audience across social media platforms numbers in the billions. The halftime show at this final will be watched by more people than any television event since records began. The commercial investment in those 15 minutes is astronomical, and the venue where those 15 minutes will be performed, the stadium that the governing body chose for the most commercially significant moments in its history, has air quality concerns that a dancer described as heavy and physically noticeable during Thursday's rehearsal. The Banner investigation produces its own specific crisis for today. The rules are clear. FIFA's Stadium Code of Conduct bans political displays. The Malvinas banner is a political display about a territorial dispute. The formal investigation was opened, and then nothing. No announcement, no timeline, no indication of whether the players involved face any sanction for the final, or whether the investigation will simply remain open until after the match has been played and the trophy has been lifted. Here is the counter-argument, because honest analysis requires it. Argentina's players are human beings who had just beaten England, the country most associated with the Falklands War in Argentine cultural memory, in a World Cup semi-final. The emotional temperature of that moment is genuinely extreme. Martinez and Lo Celso may genuinely have acted on impulse rather than premeditation. Argentina's own leadership described it as understandable and said it would likely result in a fine rather than anything more severe. A fine, after the final, is a sanction that has no effect on the match and very limited effect on the institution. If FIFA decides that is the appropriate response, there is a legitimate argument that proportionality supports it. But FIFA threatened yellow cards to players wearing armbands in Qatar. The One Love campaign, a message of inclusion, generated institutional intervention that prevented its display on a football pitch. The comparison between an armband that FIFA threatened to punish before it was worn and the banner that FIFA is investigating after it was displayed is a comparison that the institution cannot avoid. The consistency of application is the standard by which its credibility is measured, and on the day of the final, that standard remains unresolved. Now here is the phone call. Stated plainly and without embellishment, because the facts are more powerful than any framing. Folarin Balogun received a red card in the United States' match against Bosnia-Herzegovina. The automatic suspension rule, which had operated without exception since 1962, 64 years of World Cup football, required him to miss the following match. The host nation's leader publicly confirmed that he personally called the president of FIFA to request a review of that suspension. FIFA reversed it. Balogun played against Belgium. The United States lost 4-1. And the reversal became the most institutionally significant single disciplinary decision in the competition's history. The host nation's leader said he didn't say you have to do this. He said he asked FIFA to look at it. He said he didn't even think it was a foul. UEFA described the reversal as unprecedented, incomprehensible, and unjustifiable. Belgium's federation documented in writing that they received no information about the process, were given hours to appeal a decision they hadn't been shown, and were denied any explanation. And the president of the host nation confirmed he had called the FIFA president about it, publicly in the Oval Office. FIFA's head of referees responded to the accumulated controversy of the tournament with a statement that will define this institution's communication strategy for years. Nobody can question the integrity of the FIFA World Cup match officials. Nobody can claim that FIFA refereeing can be influenced by anyone, not even by the FIFA president. And then, the host nation's leader confirmed publicly that he had called the FIFA president about the reversal of a disciplinary decision. Both of those things exist in the same 40-day tournament. Both are on the record. The sentence that FIFA's head of referees chose to include in his own statement, not even by the FIFA president, was a denial of something that had not yet been publicly confirmed. It is now publicly confirmed. Here is the shareable sentence, the one that matters beyond Sunday, beyond this final, beyond the entire 2026 tournament. An institution that said it could not be influenced by anyone, not even by its own president, reversed a 64-year rule after a phone call, and on the day of its most commercially significant match, a dancer rehearsing the halftime show texted her father that she could feel the air was heavy. That sentence contains everything. The governance story, the commercial story, the welfare story, and the human story.
I am the center of the universe!
All of it arriving simultaneously at MetLife Stadium on the 19th of July, 2026. Think about what Slavko Vincic is carrying onto the pitch when the final begins. Not just the responsibility of refereeing the biggest match in sports, the accumulated weight of a tournament in which 5 national federations filed formal complaints about officiating, in which the former president of the sport's governing body described the reversal of a 64-year rule as unprecedented and incomprehensible, in which a manager spent his final World Cup press conference asking whether a referee was good enough to be there, and in which the president of the host nation confirmed he had personally called the FIFA president to request a disciplinary reversal. Vincic is experienced, he's respected, he is neutral by every applicable standard. He is Slovenian, no geopolitical sensitivity with either Spain or Argentina. He has handled 4 previous matches at this tournament without generating controversy. He is, by the criteria of the sport, a strong appointment, and he will take the field in the most scrutinized football match in history, refereed by an institution whose credibility has been challenged from more directions simultaneously than at any tournament in the competition's 100 years. Joan Laporta said it on Fifth Avenue 3 days ago. If the referee is a referee who imposes himself, Spain will have more chances, but the referee must impose himself. That sentence, delivered by the president of the club that supplies more players to Spain's national team than any other institution on earth, is the pre-final summary of 6 weeks of institutional turbulence. Not a prediction about Spain's tactical quality, a statement about whether the framework surrounding the football can be trusted. The football, when it happens, will be extraordinary. Spain versus Argentina is the match the tournament deserved. Lamine Yamal against a defensive structure that has been Argentina's backbone all tournament. Pedri and Fabian Ruiz against the midfield engine that carried Argentina through 4 consecutive comeback victories. Messi, 39 years old, 11 consecutive World Cup matches with a goal or assist, attempting to become the first back-to-back champion since Brazil in 1958 and 1962, against a Spain side that has conceded only 1 goal across 7 matches. The football will make people forget everything else. It always does. But the everything else will still be there on Monday morning. The Banner investigation, still open. The Molina investigation, still not published. Egypt's complaint has received no response. Algeria's complaint received no response. The phone call, publicly confirmed. The reversal, without precedent in 64 years. The air quality inside MetLife Stadium being monitored on the day of the final, and the institution at the center of all of it, preparing its commercial culmination, counting its $11 to $13 billion of revenue, offering a hot dog joke and an instruction to chill and relax to anyone who raises the questions that this tournament has made unavoidable. What do you think? When you watch the final today, and the referee makes the first significant decision, whatever it is, in whichever direction, will you be watching the football or will you be watching the institution? And when Argentina or Spain lift the trophy in New Jersey tonight, will the story of how this tournament was run change how much the victory means? The Molina investigation has still not been published. Egypt's complaint has received no response. The Banner investigation remains open. The air quality is being monitored. And in a few hours, Slavko Vincic will blow his whistle for the biggest match in the history of sport. We are absolutely not done with this story.
McDelivery? We're in!
Oh, fries to me!
Wait, did someone say fries? I'm in.
McDonald's.
我係啱啱微升啦，就如果你未 subscribe 嘅咧，就希望你哋 subscribe 我啦，就啱聽啱睇俾個 like 啦，麻煩你哋就好啦，就拜拜啦，就呢個係最後要求嚟嘅我。